What were the Geneva Accords and their significance? Have you ever wondered how agreements can shape the fate of nations? The Geneva Accords, reached in 1954, were pivotal in the context of the Cold War and the rise of communism in Southeast Asia. These agreements emerged from the Geneva Conference, which aimed to resolve the conflict in Indochina after the First Indochina War. This war was fought between French colonial forces and the Viet Minh, a nationalist movement led by communists in Vietnam. The accords primarily called for a ceasefire and the withdrawal of French forces from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. They established a temporary division of Vietnam at the 17th parallel. The Viet Minh controlled the north, while the French-backed state of Vietnam governed the south. The accords also mandated that nationwide elections be held within 2 years to reunify the country under a single government. From the perspective of communism, the Geneva Accords were significant. They recognized the Viet Minh's control over North Vietnam and acknowledged a communist-led government in that region. Although the accords temporarily divided Vietnam, the communist leadership, under Ho Chi Minh, viewed this as a strategic pause rather than a defeat. They maintained the goal of eventual reunification under communism. The accords also had a ripple effect on neighboring countries like Laos and Cambodia. In these nations, communist movements gained momentum and eventually took power, further expanding the influence of communism in Southeast Asia. However, the Geneva Accords did not bring lasting peace. The United States and the South Vietnamese government did not fully accept the accords. They were particularly wary of the provision for elections, fearing a communist victory. This led to increased United States involvement in South Vietnam and escalated tensions that resulted in the Vietnam War. The failure of the accords to prevent further conflict was partly due to external interference. The refusal of capitalist powers to accept communist legitimacy in the region played a significant role. In the broader context, the Geneva Accords marked a moment where communist movements gained international recognition and territorial control. This set the stage for future struggles against colonialism and imperialism. While the Geneva Accords were not directly related to the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan, they illustrate a pattern of communist involvement in regional conflicts. The challenges faced by communist states in maintaining influence amid international pressures can be seen as a continuation of the dynamics that began with agreements like the Geneva Accords. In summary, the Geneva Accords were a crucial moment in the history of communism's expansion in Southeast Asia. They marked both a diplomatic recognition of communist control in North Vietnam and a prelude to further conflict driven by Cold War tensions.